War Thunder is a free-to-play game with a massive roster of planes, tanks, and ships to get your hands on and to dominate the battlefield. However, there are some vehicles that not only dominate the battlefield, they eat and die and break down every second I touch them. So in this video, I'm going to explain my top 10 worst tanks in War Thunder. So sit back and enjoy me getting angry at some fictional vehicles in a video game. If you haven't seen the last video, it's in the top right corner. A little bit of selfish promotion. If you want to support me, then leave a like and comment. And to check out my Twitch, where I stream every week at twitch.tv/FluffyTheSheep, and help me reach the partner. And of course, I have a Discord server you can check out as well, which you can keep up to date on where I am. Before we jump in, here are some disclaimers. I don't know every single tank, of course, so these are vehicles I've played myself, mostly. If you guys have a vehicle that you hate or want to throw into the fiery pits of hell, then feel free to leave it in the comments. Of course, these opinions are mine, so take it with a grain of salt. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 10, the KV-2. I know what you're probably thinking. Fluffy, why the hell is one of the most popular Russian tanks on this list? And a pretty good one at that. I get what you're saying, but honestly, I really don't see much people playing this tank recently. Unless I remember back in the day, everyone played this tank and also bought the premium versions of this when it had its APHE concrete nuke shell that could pen Tiger 2 mantlets and would one-shot everything until they eventually switched it to the sap shell that we all know today. Yeah! The ZIS-6 gets APHE, but that's not the one I'm talking about today. After the changes, for some reason, it was impossible to one-shot with this gun anymore. Even shooting flat plates with just non-pen or ricochet. They did change it recently, giving a reload buff, making it a little bit more bearable to play. But of course, this tank is still decent, but it's why it's here. Number 9, the M26 Pershing. This tank is one of the best tanks during the war, with it fighting the Panther A on the streets of Cologne to fighting in Korea after World War II. Sadly, in War Thunder, this tank has slowly been power creeped over time without you realizing it. It's still high up in the list since it is pretty decent and still meta. But for the US tech tree, there is way better tanks to take, like the M26 Jumbo Pershing, the Super Pershing, and even the T-34. Why even put this in your lineup when there's just better options? Of course, for the other nations that get it as an extra vehicle, like Italy, I guess it can be pretty decent because of all the light tanks you have. But at that BR, its armor is way too weak, and honestly, it should be at 6.3. Just a tank I mostly avoid using, but I still play it every now and then. Number 8. The Centurion Mark I. Well. It's not a top 10 worst tanks list without a British vehicle. And for some reason, this tank by far is the one I'm super 50-50 with for some reason. Don't worry, this is not the worst tank on our list, but it's pretty mediocre at best. Gonna sound old again, but back in my day, this beast sit at a BR of 5.7. And amazingly, APDS worked like a charm, just like how APFSDS worked as of today. But of course, Gadget hated the UK having better tanks than the Russians and German counterparts, so they slapped us with a big APDS nerf and moved up all the Centurions to a higher BR. Over time, slowly being power cracked and swept away and being forgotten. This tank is a great with its AP shell, but it's AP. And it sucks against tanks that just get APHE nuke shells, like the Tiger H1, staying happily at its nice, comfortable BR of 5.7. Meanwhile, this bitchless tank can sit in the cuck chair and watch all the other nations have fun with their autoloaders, APHE, and better guns than them. The first main battle tank, more like the first main battle tank to suck! Number 7, the Panther F. Come on, you guys. This tank is the absolute worst Panther of all the other series. They even made the Panther D feel better than this unarmored piece of crap. Oh, but Fluffy, this tank has better turret armor than the other tank series. I've heard so many people say that, but this thing sits at the BR of 6.0, and you have to research down the other better tanks at the same BR, like the Panther A and the Panther G. What is the point grinding for this mediocre tank? Just use the other ones. The other tanks may have weaker turrets, but like the IS-2 turrets, they have volumetric hell, and it's impossible to shoot their weak spots, and most of the time bouncing and being a pain in the ass. However, the Panther F has a massive shoot me here turret design, to the point that you need to put on cheat bushes so that you pray the enemy thinks that you're a Panther too in a down tier somehow. Do not recommend playing this tank, and just play the other Panthers instead. They're so much better. And also, just move this tank to 5.7 already, so people can play it more instead of just being a useless research dead weight. Number 6, the BMP-1. Yeah, that's right, a Soviet vehicle being this low on the list. This thing used to be amazing at 7.7, with its fantastic gun that it still has, to its laser accurate ATGM, until one day, Gaijin decided missiles should dip into the ground for no reason at all, for realism. Even though there is actual real footage of them shooting at a missile in a straight line, the missile nerf made this thing awful to play, and only relying on its gun and down tiers to see Tiger 2s. But nah, Gaijin thought it would be hilarious to put this thing up to 8.0 now, fighting T-55s and modern ERA M60s at 9.0 full up tiers, making this tank a coin flip if your matches will be bearable or absolutely insufferable. If they somehow fix the stupid ATGMs, then maybe this tank will be more fun at 8.0. However, as of right now, it's something I would avoid playing unless they move it down to 7.7, or somehow add extra crew inside to make it more survivable. Number 5, the AMX-13 Hot. I don't even have words to say on what the absolute hell Gaijin was thinking on putting this tank at such a high BR for no reason. 8.3! In full up tiers, you're fighting T-72s with goddamn AP. Holy, pass me that stuff over, because what in the absolute hell are you guys smoking with this tank? Yeah, it gets an autoloader, but that same tank that used to be at 6.7 until it's up tier to 7.0. Now you're gonna tell me, but Fluffy, this tank gets ATGMs and they're very fast and guided. Unless you skip through the video, the last tank we mentioned, they made missiles absolutely goddamn hell to use, making them worthless to take. Now picture this, trying to shoot its ATGMs without a stabilizer and the most wobbliest gun ever to be made, shooting a goddamn T-72 with stabilizers. And at the same BR, it's fighting a T-58. So good luck killing anything with this tank, man. All I can say is this tank needs to go down to at least 7.7 and remove its scout UAV. I always see people just skipping out on this tank after they get the Mars 15 and never touching this useless vehicle. And I warn you to never touch this vehicle as well. Number 4, the Panzer IV-J. Yeah, I get it. The Panzer IV series are really good, but this one is a complete downgrade to the rest. After buying the Panzer IV-J, the premium one, I felt like I just got scammed at a casino after winning big, and them saying, sorry, but you need to leave, and then banning me without cashing in my chips. Like, what the hell were the Germans thinking? I get it, they had to make some budget cuts in 1945 for their tanks to have more slower turret traverses. But stuff like the King Tiger, the Yak Tiger, and the mouse was being made at the same time. I have no clue what this tank is such a high BR. The other Panzer IVs are just way better, including the low BR ones like the Panzer IV F2 and the Panzer IV-G. I have some super beef with this tank, and I understand why it gets a better engine out of all the other Panzer IVs, but I just have beef with the premium one. It irritates me. Like, why not just give us a premium Panzer IV-H instead of giving us the least popular Panzer IV series out of all of them? Number 3, the M47 Patton II. Oh boy, where do I start? If you think the M46 was bad, or even the normal Pershing, this tank is so garbage. Imagine if they got the same weak-ass turret hull armor as the M26 base Pershing and stuck an M4A1 Bulldog turret on top. Then boom, you get this absolute mistake of a tank. This thing sucks, and to anyone playing it, I would just straight up take something else. You will thank me for it later. But from its terrible stock AP shell that already outdated at 7.3, oh, but, you know, it gets heat FS, so it's still good, right? You would think so, but no, it's even worse. The only rounds you can actually rely on to do any damage is its APHE shell, with barely any pen for its BR. So you need to aim for those weak spots to then getting sniped by a T-58 or IS-7 across the map. Cause oh look, you've been up tier to 8.3. This thing sucks, and honestly would be better going down in BR, since it's just worthless to take into battles. And you'll have so much better luck with taking tanks such as the T-32 and even the T-95. Number 2, the Lux A2. As soon as I saw this in the trailer update for Firebirds, I knew this tank would be absolute hot garbage and be put at a ridiculous BR. And I was correct. Just imagine a Weasel 1A4 and now scale it to a double-decker bus. That's the Lux. But guys, don't worry. It has this one cool feature alone. It can float on water.
Are you serious?
Next, it's gonna turn water into wine and create its own religion on how Germany is the best nation in the world. Oh wait, this tank at 7.3 is way too high in my opinion, and should either be at a lower BR of 7.0, or maybe if Gaijin is generous to lower its APDS belt ammo like they did with the Falcon, then they could put it at 6.7, where I think it would thrive in a nice beautiful German field with its final animals like the elephant, tiger, panther, and mouse? Yeah, we shall see. Alright, without further ado, let's move on to the number 1 spot. But before that, here are some honorable mentions. We have the British Chieftain Marksman, we have the Skink, and the Im Chaparral, and it's both US and Israeli one. I think the US one is better, but the Israeli one, I don't like it. I really hope that they add an 11.3 or like 10.7 AA for Israel. That's all I want. But the Chieftain Marksman, that thing for the UK is ass. I never see anyone play that. I would want to see that go down to 8.0, maybe even 7.7, but I think that'll be a bit too much. Or give us a 7.7 AA for Britain too, because there is like a massive gap between 5.3 and 8.3 for AAs.
You know what I want. You just don't want to give it to me.
So yeah, and the Skink is just the Skink, the Stink. Everyone just doesn't like the Stink. Now for the next tanks is the P40, the Type 60 ATM, the Shalam Tiger, the Type 75 MLRS, the Striker, the TDD for South Africa, the IS-6, the Raketen Jagdpanzer 2, I nearly said that in German, and then the Jagdpanzer 4/5, and then the M4A3 E2 76 Jumbo, the Nashorn, the M1A1 Abrams, the Badger, the Char 25T, and the T95. That's it for the honorable mentions. I'm really sorry if there's any tanks that you like that are in here, but they're only honorable mentions. Don't worry. They're only like okay, but kind of mid tanks, but that's it. All right, on to the number 1 spot. And finally, number 1, the FV 4005. I absolutely despise this tank. This is the perfect example of what Gaijin thinks about the UK. Meanwhile, other nations like the USA can have fun with hash shells with their new tank, the T-58. But this tank is the size of an apartment building. You might as well put this up for rent for anyone willing to move into this barn shed of a tank. And as a fellow sheep, you would think I would love this tank since it's literally called the shit barn, but it's a very complicated relationship and we have no idea who will take custody of the kids. And oh yeah, I'm going off topic. So this tank needs a reload buff, just like the KV2 had, because whenever I shoot at the enemy tank and take out only the gunner, I have to wait up to 40 seconds to reload my entire gun. And it takes even longer, up to a minute or a minute and a half, if I have less crew. So during that time, the enemy can switch out his gunner, repair his breach, reload, and shoot before I even get the chance to reload fully. Now, something that I did some research on would be cool, even if the tank they could add or make a premium is the FE4005 Stage 1. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just an FE4005 with an autoloader, just like the T-58, firing around 6 rounds per minute. That feels like a dream come true. And the best part about this tank, it's an open top, so no more stupid shed being the size of an office building. Only complaint about this tank for me, they need to nerf its reload or move it down in BR, because I absolutely hate this tank so much. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hey guys, Future Fluffy here. Man. I was just about to post this video until they recently did some changes. And that is this. They buffed the reload speed of the FE4005. So that's nice. So it's went down from 28 seconds or whatever, 30 seconds to only 25 seconds. And that's good. I'm glad they did that. However, there is one thing that I really don't like, and I'll show you guys. So, here's the FE4005, right? I bought the, Ace Crew for this tank, and the only difference that it fucking makes is that's a 5 millisecond difference, right? I'm not blind, right? I paid, like, 1,000 Golden Eagles for this, right? Only for the reload to be 5 milliseconds faster. I'm about to lose my fucking guy. I'm about to fucking lose my mind, chat. I'm fucking... Thank you guys so much for watching and hearing my absolutely worst and most awfulest takes, I bet, on the top 10 worst tanks in War Thunder. And as for what I'll be doing content-wise, I'll be making reaction videos and maybe doing some new vehicles and update reviews. And for the next video, I wanted to work on a prediction calendar where I try to predict what will come out this year and what to expect. Of course, the next video of this series will be a top 10 best and worst premium vehicles for air and ground. I was thinking of maybe doing a video together, like top 5 best and worst premium planes, to buy me some more time. It would be so much better and easier to add less to the list. But for these main video tech trees, I'm gonna still make them super long, like usual. Sorry for my ranting, but I'll see you guys in the next video.